lot of damage to that I-9 hill. There's no cover on that hill, and that's really the only spot where you've got an elevated position where you have clear lines of sight on I-9.
Okay, we are going live. Looks like 5 lights, 4 mediums, a cataphract, and 2 dragon slayers for the lords.
Yeah, that looks like a brawling deck to me, with support from the
Yeah,
heavy units.
I think maybe this surprised them a little bit with such a large map.
Yeah, they do have a very fast light force, though.
They have the I-9 hillside.
And they have the advantage, yep. So I think Lords is going to have the better position, and they're going to have the better force to take I-9. I don't know if it's going to be the better force to hold it.
Yeah, that is. I see a Hunchback, some Shadowhawks. You're definitely on the light side, obviously, because of the 4 mediums and 4 lights. But these definitely are not sniping mechs. These are brawling mechs.
And the Lords are wasting no time getting to that I-9 hill. They're getting their light force up there very quickly. We haven't had any contact with the Jag force now. Looks like we're just seeing them in the distance here. Not enough to make out what they've got, though.
I wonder what Eglar is doing way far away from everyone.
Is that him and Kilo 8 back there?
Yeah, they did a quick overlay real quick. It's Eglar and a Cataphract 3D.
Yeah, he had it that far spawn. Might be a problem if the Jags notice it. They can get on it quickly.
Yeah, they definitely weren't
looks like he's
scouting that edge, because if they saw him, they could have put their lights on him and taken him down. No contact yet, so I'm curious on what SJR is doing. They may just actually be deciding not to charge the hill and just hold back and let the timer run out.
Yeah, it looks like the Lords have sent some lights back to protect Eglar as he moves. The Jag's going to play conservatively here, I think.
I agree. I think they should. And honestly, if they can't push that hill without taking obviously a lot of damage, there's no point.
Yeah, they know they lost the hill, so they're going to change their strategy and their approach to this.
Now they could just decide to come around. They can push up through the H9, H10 area and pull up one of those little slants and get it without much damage, especially if the Lords don't notice that's what they're doing. Oh, and I see now you see
lights down there.
You also see a heavy that's actually in the ravine line just below the basin, and it looked like he was alone.
Are those Atlases back there?
There may be a DDC in there.
No, those are Highlanders, I think. Zoom in on them, damn it, Heim.
Yeah, come on, get over there, scout mech.
I'm old, I can't see.
Yeah, it's hard to make it out when you're so far away.
So Jags have started rolling right towards the Lord's location. They're not going up the comm tower hill.
Jaeger is in a Highlander, sniper blowed out, dual PPC, dual UAX. Honestly, if they try to push this, the Lords try to push this, I think they're going to run right into a heavier, a snipe-centric build from SJR.
Yeah, the Lords are looking like they're trying to advance undercover so they can attack here. The Jags have gotten back behind the hill, but they're really going to need to find some open ground. There's not a whole lot of it over there, so they can utilize the firepower of their Highlanders, and they're going to need to commit their light force early to pin down the Lord brawling force before they can get too close, so that their Highlanders really have a chance to get some damage done.
Heim's going to have to be careful. He took too much of a wide turn that was in the open on top of that hill. If they had a shot on him, they could have popped him pretty good.
He did expose his back for a little bit, and that's really all you need.
Yeah. With these lights, you just got to be really careful. These are, top teams, and guys can actually, they're going to hit most likely what they see. So you got to be really careful, especially early on. You can't give that team the advantage. What I always say is, like, make them earn it. If they're going to kill you, that's great. That's fine. But don't give it away. Again, he's on the wrong side of the hill. he should try. You can obviously tell he's not a natural light pilot. He plays because he can still play one, but he should try to avoid being on the opposite side of that hill.
Yeah, these are still solid players, but when you're out of your element, it can definitely have an effect, especially in comp play.
Looks like they got one light mech that's skirting out toward the Lords now, or not the Lords. I'm sorry, the
Well, there's a
SJR, and
good
he's by
sniper hit on a
himself.
Victor.
I don't think that light mech has any business being that far out in advance. There's no strike, so there's no reason to be at far out in advance.
He might be just looking for information. The Lords have not shown a lot of aggression with their light force right now. So
I'm half
the Jag's
expecting
going
to
to take
see a
advantage of that.
UAV, but he's not dropping one either. He may have actually got himself pinned. Trying to come back, he may put himself in too much of a firing line.
Looks like the Lords do have a scout deployed forward in Hotel 6. He might be running out his bait. The
I don't know,
Jags do
that's
not
like
want to run
giving
into
away
a
a
firing
kill.
line again, so they're not going to take it.
Now, here's an advantage that the Lords could actually push over this hill, cross over, and take that I-6 hill, because it looks like SJR is on the opposite side of it, so they have a ramp, a clear distance to come up over it.
Yeah, we're not entirely sure where the Jag body is. Let's see what this is here. I'm not sure if they continued falling back or if they'd stop. I think they have a scout forward trying to find that out.
Looks like they got a light strung out to the far right, SGR does.
Yeah, SJR likes to do this with their lights. They'll put them far away from the battle, but in an elevated position to get intelligence on the enemy. So even though they'll be out of position for a little bit, sometimes that intelligence is very valuable. And the Jags do that very frequently. They'll send one or two lights off away from the body. And I don't think he knows there's a Lord light mech back there, because he's awfully close.
Yeah, the one, well, it looks like the Lord Light Mech has come back to the main group. You know what? They might be sitting this one out.
It's okay, Siri. We love you.
Yeah, it looks like at least the SGR is confident in their position just to sit and redrop, it looks like.
Yeah, now the Lords did leave the I-9 hill open. They do have a light watching it, though. But if the Jags are aggressive, they might be able to move there.
Yeah, I guess each team can, wait till the last 2 minutes and just charge and try to get a kill and just, see who can kill the mech the fastest. But it's such a 50-50 shot whether you can do it or not.
Yeah, I like the Artie comments going on. This is why I like to bring Artie. If you get Alpine, somebody's camping that hill, you can fuck them up with those Arties. But neither team has them available.
Yeah, the Artie part, especially in skirmish mode, where this will happen. Obviously, this, like as we were discussing before, this is an imbalanced map depending on which side you're on. So it will always favor one side or the other. It's just whether or not you want to attempt to take it. Yeah, I don't have any issue with what SJR is doing. It's advisable in a way.
Yep, I don't blame at all.
Yeah, so it's all right, and we'll go to another drop, I'm sure, unless either team decides to man up and just charge, which it wouldn't be prudent.
No, I've made that mistake enough to not ever want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can give it a shot, but obviously, I think the team that charges would be at a heavy disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, on RHoD has a special rule though. There aren't redrops in RHoD. If there's a tie, it is a tie. So both teams do take a bit of a risk here, not engaging. So if there's a tie here, the battle could come down to a 2-2. Although I do think there's a tiebreaker. We'll have to double check the rules on that.
I think we get a tie-breaking drop no matter what. I didn't think you could end in a tie.
Yeah, I think we do get a
is it or is it a
form.
redrop under the same weight?
Actually, what I think it is if there's a draw, it just counts as a draw, and you go through the rest of the weight, and then you cycle back to the first tonnage. I think that's the way it works, so I'd have to double check.
We'll have to confirm that with Syria Magician after this drop. Because I thought it was a redrop on the same weight immediately, but then again, I could be confusing that with Merrick.
You'd think that two competitive pilots that play in RHoD would know the rules a little better.
I just shoot stuff.
Who knows?
They say don't die early and shoot other people. Okay. Well, I think there is also a rule that can they change their tonnages? Can they change their loadouts or max?
If it works the way I think it does, and they start at the top tonnage again, they could pick a new deck.
Oh, you can see SGR
They do
is very
540.
far back. Very, very far.
Yeah, neither teams really want to make a move here. I think they'll be content to let it tick down. Looks like Lords is starting to move now.
Oh, okay, so
They're
they
saying
are
push
going to
into
advance.
G6. I
You
wonder
did
if they're
see
going to
that.
try to catch that guy out of position.
It's possible. I mean, if they get that easy kill and then pull back into their line, they force SGR to make a move. Honestly, I'm really surprised SGR decided to stay within striking distance, knowing that they were going to, drag it out. They could just back up and just stay away.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where the Lords are going here. It looks like they're making a very wide sweep. If they're really brawling, the Jags gonna be in trouble. They're behind that hill there. It doesn't look like they're gonna have a whole lot of forewarning. I think the Jags are about to get hit in the flank here. It looks like they're having trouble setting up a line.
All right, and I've been texted and I've shown the rules. There's no redrops. The team at the end out of the 5 drops has the most wins. So there can be a draw in regular season. Oh, and there's a light mech strung out G6 area, and the Lord's lights are moving in.
Man, sitting up here watching Heim, I just want to drop a strike so bad.
He had such a good vantage point of all the mechs. I don't see. It didn't look like that Ember had a whole lot of damage, so he got away. We are at the 3-minute
Yeah, both
mark
teams
now.
playing very, very carefully. One mech loss here is really going to put the team that's down in a really bad position. When you're in that kind of situation, I've been in that before, when you lose a mech with a minute or two left, you really get desperate. You either got to push immediately and try to pick somebody off, or commit your whole body and just hope for the best. It's a really bad spot to be in.
Yeah, I think SGR noticed that the Lords have moved into a vantage point to try to hit down that whole valleyway there. If they really want to draw this out and we're conceding a draw, they should just be moving completely away. Definitely get their light mechs out of the picture so that they don't get that easy kill with the low tonnage mech, and then just continue to move away.
Yeah, this really shows both teams have a lot of respect for each other. Perhaps not personally, but they respect each other's skill, so they're very, very careful in poking and prodding each other here.
It looks like you got I think it was a Highlander, might be Jaeger. He's up. It looks like the Jags are fairly split right now. They're actually very spread out. And honestly, if the Lord's Lights team up, they may be able to get one of those guys down if they just go right at them.
Now, have we determined how many lights the Jags have? With that many
I
assault
was
mechs, Highlanders, I expect at least 5.
Well, we're on the this is the 620 drop, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
We got 5 for the Lords. But we didn't see.
And
I
they're
think
running those Victors, so they're a
yeah,
little lighter.
I think the SJR troop is heavy by 1 mech, so they only have the 4 lights.
The Jags have moved into that valley, well, they're poking there. It's like they have the Highlanders do have the advantage of those right amount of weapons. They want to keep that as much as they can.
And Heim's stream went down again. Okay, this is unfortunate.
It seems to do that in the 1-minute mark.
Yeah, does he have it on a timer to shut down? I don't know. Hopefully they just drag that nobody gets a kill at the end and we miss the show. Damn it, Heim.
And we don't have a Steeljag stream, so
Yep, this is okay. We're just this is a tease. They're just messing with us. Oh, okay. Siri, it says nothing happened. Excellent.
okay. So we didn't miss anything.
12-0'd. Addy says 12-0'd at the end. Yeah, with a minute left, it was the greatest shots ever made. Or somebody snuck in an Artie and killed everyone.
An arty strike from God.
Yeah, he decided that this was a boring match and killed everyone. Okay, so I think we're going to boot Heinz stream here and go back to the SJR one.
We go on to the 700. Yeah, hopefully we get a stream from Steeljag. Usually both teams have quite a number of people streaming, but I know a couple of the more usual streamers, Calf and Audie, are not streaming tonight.
Yeah,
I
spoke with Calf real quick because that was the stream that we were gonna use, and he said he's been having connection issues. Obviously, they carried over into Heim, so he was not gonna stream, and Addy is not streaming as well, which is unfortunate. I usually like to have a light and a heavy mech perspective because it gives you a chance to see both ends of the field because there is sometimes a lot of jockeying or a lot of sitting around, so it's good to have two vantage points from both sides.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't have Ruffles' super awesome stream, so we can't do the dual perspective here.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the way I've been going tonight, I probably would have screwed that up too.
Yeah, they both go down.
Unintentionally, by the way, everyone. Unintentional. I'm sure I can get better at this.
User entered your channel.
So we go straight to the 700 drop, so it's going to be heavier than one we just saw. 80 tons, I would assume that's just going to go right into a heavier mech.
Yeah, it's very easy to reconfigure from 620 to 700. You don't need to make a whole lot of adjustments with the meta the way it is.
I think the Shadowhawk and one of the lights that the Lords are running are easily going to turn into heavy mechs. You can put another 50 tons on that light and give yourself a heavy, and you can put another, you can get another assault, so another heavy, another assault for the Lord's deck.
Well, something we like to do in Blackstone is we put in, for a 700 deck, we put in 4 Jenners, 2 Cicadas, 3 Highlanders, and 3 Frax, which gave us quite a bit of flexibility as well as a lot of punch. We really like those kinds of decks, but I think we're going to see a lot more kind of main meta here.
Long range on those Cicadas, correct?
Oh yeah, VSKs.
I think you might actually, since this is a heavier deck, I think you're going to see at least one Raven 3L from SJR. They like to use them. They're very effective. If they would have been on Alpine, that would have been a primo light deck to have.
Yeah, this is where those light snipers really come in handy, especially with those Cicadas. I love plugging the Cicada. I wish more teams would use them, because they're just such a great raiding mech. If a team's camping, especially if we don't have those strikes, you need a way to get them to push them. And with those light sniper mechs, you can really do a lot of damage and really get people to move with those things.
I think they're being used more and more. I just don't think they're not used heavily. I think you might see 1 or 2 in a drop. I think it turns people away, and the only reasoning is because it's that 5 tons extra than a light, and you kind of say, do we really need that, or do we want to put it into a heavier assault mech?
Yeah, and it is a trade-off. With those light mechs, if you can keep them at range, you're in pretty good shape. But you really got to focus the enemy's lights down. If those lights get on top of your light snipers, that's the game right there. The whole game is over. So they're really kind of a hit-or-miss mech, and it's really dependent on the map, and especially in this situation where we're still in random maps without our private servers, which hopefully will come to us in 19 days. It's very difficult to try to build a deck that's going to be effective on both maps, large and small.
Yeah, picking the drops per the map would actually change up a lot of things. But then I think it'll also help emphasize the fact that some of these maps, the way they are, they're imbalanced. And it'll go right back to the same thing. I mean, what would really be nice is if you could pick where your drop locations were, or they just were centralized to the same areas.
Yeah, or if there were multiple drop zones and teams could pick and choose which ones they wanted to be on. If
That would really
if
change the
Team
dynamic
A
of a map.
picks a drop zone, yeah, and if Team A drops a drop zone instead of just automatically being the shitty one, you might pick a drop zone that's a little bit more in a position where you could flank an enemy, you deny him a position or get on them quicker.
Yeah, I really hope when they get the private matchmaker out, it may not be right away, but I hope they allow you to at least pick where your lance in full drops, because it's really hard now where you don't know where the guys are going to be. So you got a light mech here, you got an assault over here, and you got, they're all spread out, and it could be very detrimental because you just can't get together fast enough.
Yeah, we saw that on the last drop too, where the Lords had a fract spawn with their light mechs, and it took them forever to get in position. And you have to think about this from a logical perspective. If you were actually somebody living in 3050 and you were launching an attack with 12 mechs, you would not stick a cataphract with your light mechs 2 kilometers away from the rest of your body. And it's just randomness of the maps and the drop zones and the people involved really make the game difficult to play in the pug level. And it makes it even worse for competition, because in those situations where you have variables that normally you would control under battlefield situations, you don't have control over those. So in the early games, rather than being aggressive, teams have got to spend a minute or two regrouping, and Terra Therma is probably the worst for that, and Alpine's probably a close second.
So it looks like I'm still showing Heim stream, but I should be showing the other one.
Yeah, hopefully the Jags can get their stream back up.
There we go, in before the win.
I do have over 100 people watching live stream. It's good to see those kind of numbers. This fight really drew out a lot of people.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have that many of this. I think usually we're only hovering around 80 or 90. It's a 181 from what I can see.
I'm sure half of them are members of the participating teams, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, that's to be expected.
So right now we're just waiting on the 700 deck. We don't have any word yet that either team is launched.
I assume since the drop decks were so similar to this, the weights were so similar from the last one, that it wouldn't be much of a change.
Yeah, I think we're going to see, it's going to be a heavy sniper deck again. I think the Jags are going to put those Highlanders back in. And it's really going to be about really who doesn't make a mistake in the field. The Jags were much more conservative on that drop, and they were willing to take a draw rather than fight on a battle they couldn't win. And a lot of pressure now comes down these last 2 draws. Whichever team wins here is going to be in a very good position, and really the best the other team can hope for is a draw at this point. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on this single drop here.
Yeah, that will definitely put one team at a disadvantage and maybe take them out of the game completely if they lose this drop.
I'm hearing that there's a bug fixed on a mech on the Jag side, so we're just waiting to get that resolved. So while we're killing some time here, we do have, actually Phil just made an interesting post in case anyone didn't notice it. We'll talk about that first. There were some pictures of the Mad Cat that were released. Hopefully we get a link for that. Maybe someone in the chat can put that out. So we do have actual images of the Mad Cat or / Timberwolf, depending on what side you like to play for. It does look pretty nice from what I've seen of it, but they're all kind of upshots from low perspective, so it makes the legs of the mech look a little bit larger than they actually are. It kind of gives them that kind of elongated look, but I think it's supposed to be a little bit more squat. Thanks for the link. It does look pretty nice. I'm happy with the way it looks. I think PGI's art department, especially when it comes to these mechs, has really been bang on for the most part. There are a couple mechs I do have issues with, mainly in size. But I think the Timberwolf, I'd love to see a scale if you could put like an Atlas next to it and figure out just how large this thing actually is. The Timberwolf is a pretty wide mech, and it does have very low slung arms. So when it comes to competition, it's going to be a little bit difficult to use. I'd love to see another mech in there for scale, though.
Yeah, those low slung arms are going to make it hard to hill hump, which is something that you would hope it would be able to do.
Oh, here's a really good picture that, who put that up there? Was it J-Man? Yeah, J-Man put this great shot of the Mad Cat. Looks like it's on Crimson. Not a down shot, but a little bit more head on. Really looks great. Who knows? With the way that clans play with those XL engines, we're going to be moving pretty quick. It may not depend so much on the traditional hill humping, jump sniping sort of meta that we see a lot from their IS counterparts. Maybe it depends a lot on the balance with the clans are going to come out, whether or not low slung arms will be an issue. A lot of them do have that problem. Direwolf, Mascari, the Nova do have those very low slung arms. They really don't have a whole lot of mechs that have their arms mounted up, unless you want to put a dasher in there. Looks like we're getting searching now. Should have hit in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I assume these guys are going to continue to hit well, but I do notice that I think there are a few other teams dropping tonight in their matches. Not sure if they are as well dropping in skirmish.
Yep, I know Blackstone's got 12 going, but they're probably playing Assault. So if anyone's listening, go play the Blackstone team.
I believe 228 is also dropping in 12s. I think that's just practice as well, so maybe they're practicing against each other.
Yeah, I don't know if any other match has been scheduled for tonight.
Which would be odd, because Thursday night's usually a heavy night for comp matches.
Yeah, a lot of teams try to jam those drops in right for the weekend. A lot of teams don't play on the weekend.
I know SWK normally tries not to, as we have other things that we have to attend to, such as wives and children.
Fun killers.
Or, yeah, they can make your life miserable, for sure.
So hit on Crimson Street. This
Oh,
is another one of those
another
big
one.
maps that has those really unbalanced drop zones.
Yep, and it's honestly, it's going to come down to the team on water side has to get their rear ends up on top of that highway, or otherwise they're going to be SOL, I think. Although you do still have a vantage point to hit those positions, but it's still, higher ground against lower ground. If the team that spawns on the opposite side decides to push, they can get 2 lances at the ridge area pretty fast. But it doesn't matter how heavy they are; they can beat the heavier mechs from the opposite side because that's how far away they are.
Yeah, it's very difficult to control that cleavage area from the low side, land side. On this map, I really wish they'd open up that left side of the map that's all closed off. You notice about a third of the map that you just can't get to. If they put some sort of an access over there, or some sort of differing terrain, you at least have 3 different movement points, because you really only have 2 on this map. You have either the cleavage route, or you've got the city route. I mean, you've got the tunnel route too, but you have to be stupid to go through the tunnel. So you really want to move through one of those 2 options. And when you're on that low side, the only option you really have available to you is through that city. So it really puts a cramp on the way this map is played.
It would change the dynamics of the map severely is if they added a second tunnel, either going the opposite side of the cleavage to come out on the opposite side, or to go directly right through the middle of the underneath the belly of the mountain. Because right now, if both teams are at a stalemate and they're fighting over the cleavage area, you're screwed because it really doesn't favor anybody except the people on the high ground. But if you had that advantage to be able to push directly underneath them right away, then that's something that you'd always have to be aware of.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to push through the cleavage on the low side. When you're on the high side, you have two options, and there's actually a video of the Jags slaughtering one of the teams that tries to charge them through the cleavage. So you can stand and deliver if you're